It was a quiet afternoon when I received a frantic call. Karen had somehow convinced herself that she had the authority to take my daughter from our ranch. According to her, some fabricated HOA rule meant she could call the cops and remove her from my custody. What she didn't know was that I was already on my way, and I had a badge to back it up. I was reviewing ranch security footage when my phone buzzed. Karen had dialed 911, claiming an emergency child custody situation at my property. Within seconds, my security team confirmed her location, and I could see her pacing near the gates, waving her arms, clearly trying to convince neighbors to support her false claim. I stepped into my vehicle, badge in hand, and drove toward the front gate. As I approached, my PA system activated, broadcasting a calm but authoritative voice across the property. "Karen, you are on private property without authorization. No one is being removed from this property without legal cause. Leave immediately." Karen froze, looking flustered, but she refused to back down. "I'm enforcing the law," she shouted into her phone, waving it like a weapon. She had clearly thought calling 911 would allow her to assert control over my property and over my daughter, but she had no idea what was coming. Within minutes, deputies arrived at the scene. My vehicle pulled up just behind them, and I stepped out wearing my uniform. The moment Karen saw the badge and recognized who I was, her smug confidence crumbled. Her entire argument evaporated in an instant. The deputies quickly assessed the situation. "Ma'am," one said sternly, "you have called 911 claiming authority that you do not possess. This is private property, and the individual you are attempting to remove is under the lawful guardianship of their parent. You are trespassing and making false reports." Karen sputtered, trying to insist on her HOA authority, but the evidence was overwhelming. Security footage showed her entering the property without permission. Phone records confirmed her repeated 911 calls. My daughter was safe, and every action Karen attempted had been carefully documented. I calmly approached Karen. "Do you see now why this is illegal? Any further attempts to interfere with my family or my property will result in arrest and permanent revocation of your HOA privileges." The deputies escorted her off the property. I ensured that the gates were fully secured and verified that all surveillance logs were intact. Karen had not only trespassed but had also attempted to use law enforcement to enforce a non-existent HOA right, exposing herself to potential charges for false reporting and harassment. By the end of the day, my daughter was safely inside, the property was secure, and Karen had suffered a public humiliation. Neighbors witnessed her downfall and understood the extent of her overreach. Her frantic calls to 911 had backfired spectacularly, leaving her and the HOA vulnerable to legal consequences. Karen had thought calling the cops to take my daughter would assert HOA control. Instead, she triggered law enforcement documentation, public embarrassment, and permanent revocation of HOA authority, all while my family and property remained fully protected. Karen tried to remove my daughter using her HOA power. Instead, she faced humiliation, legal consequences, and permanent loss of HOA privileges, proving once again that rogue HOA members cannot interfere with private property or family safety without consequences.